It is such a hard website to navigate. It's so
Yeah.
stupid. Like when
Yeah.
you're trying to figure out like, well, so before they went to the stones thing and screwed up
Mhm.
the whole system, like I had points or whatever they called them, and like trying to figure out how many points you had versus, whatever. It's just like it's such a nightmare to navigate. And it's like, God, I hate this website. It's Golden Hour Adventure Time, featuring everyday people doing extraordinary things. From the peaks of victory to the valleys of defeat, these are their stories. Now, from the back of the pack, your hosts, Justin and Robbie. Welcome to Golden Hour Adventures. It's just me and Robbie again. You're just stuck with us for a little while. I promise you, we will bring guests back. We are waiting until after Cowboy, and then we have an amazing lineup. We've been talking to some great people. We got some great guests coming on, but you're just going to have to wait because we got a life. We're preparing for a massive event. And you know what? It's just how it has to happen right now. The alternative was we stopped doing a podcast until afterwards. But
And play
we're not
reruns.
that.
Do some reruns for this.
Ooh, reruns. That would be a good idea. I'd like that. So, Robbie, you have a little bit of a gripe, a complaint about some shoes, and you were just talking to me about how well you can handle the downhills in those shoes. Tell us about it, man.
So I've been running in the Mafate 5s, the Hoka and their Wisdom. Like I think I've already ran it on this once, but changed the shoe that I've been wearing for quite a few years to a 5. And it is just horrible, in my opinion. If anyone else is out there running the 5, let me know. Compared to the 4s, I know most of us went from the Speed Goats, got sick of the shit with the Speed Goats changing, went to the Mafates, we're like, oh, we got a shoe. And here we are again now with the 5s, and they're just junk, my opinion.
What makes them jump? I know they dropped, or they didn't drop. They raised the drop.
Yeah, so now it's 8mm drop. I'm used to a 4. I can notice it pretty good. The volume, the stack count, I don't even want to know because it'll probably piss me off, is much bigger. The laces, you could probably lace them twice with the laces. Like
Why do people do that? Like, do they think that our feet are just like Barney Rubble's feet that are massive? Like, why do we have these laces that are 25 feet long?
Yeah.
I don't understand it. I have a couple shoes like that, and I have to tuck them because I'm just like, I'm going to trip over these laces.
Well, yesterday on my run back, I was doing an out and back, and I was just kind of leisurely going out for the 5 miles, and I was going to push on the way back. And I've got about 40-ish miles on these, probably 50 now. And I went to tighten the shoes up, and they don't have any padding under the tongue. And the tongue is short, like it doesn't even move. So I tried to tighten the shoes up, then I just, couldn't heel lock very good. And when I tightened up the laces, I could feel the laces digging into the top of my foot. Because the tongue is it's like paper thin. So I couldn't get them tight. I've wore the same size shoes and Hokas since 2014. These ones feel like they're a half size bigger. The lugs are like, I think 0.5 millimeters taller than the Mafate Speed 4s, which you wouldn't think you'd notice a half millimeter, but every time you get raised up higher off the ground, for me, I can notice it. With instability. Bombing the downhills, I don't even trust these shoes. Like, in the Mafates, I could just point my shoes down and pick my line and go. These ones, I really have to pick a line. And that line is not a line I'd normally pick. And it was mentally fatiguing. I was like, I couldn't do this for 50 miles in these shoes. I would be so mentally fatigued if it was a technical trail. Yeah. These shoes would probably be great for like Cowboy, probably, because that's probably what I'm going to wear. They're probably great, They remind me of, if people are familiar with the Bondi, they're like more of their road walking type of shoe. That's kind of what I feel like they base these shoes off. They say for their ultra long distance and terrain. I don't believe it.
Yeah, I wore Bondis when I was first started out with running. But man, something with Hoka, like every time I put a Hoka on, like they just hurt my feet, my legs. And I don't know what it is. Like I just can't wear Hokas. I've tried I think 2 editions of the Speed Goats. I can't do it. I think I gave you some Mafates one time because I
Yeah, you
was
gave me
like,
the
well,
Mafates. Yeah, yeah,
these don't work. So I don't know. I don't know what it is with Hoka. I've never been able to wear their shoe.
yeah, and they keep changing. So I started in 2010, and the first pair of shoes I ran in were the Rapanuis. They made them for like one iteration. Ran my first 100 in them, wore them the whole 100 miles, changed socks, then went to go buy another pair and they quit making them.
Hmm.
Luckily, that's when they started making the Speed Goats. So I got into Speed Goats, and the Speed Goats were good till about version 4 for me. Then they just changed. I don't know why they're changing things.
Yeah.
Don't change what's not broken. Someone needs to justify their job. I get it when engineers have to justify their job. I've worked with plenty of engineers throughout my life, and it's all about redesigning the wheel to make yourself look cool. But now we were kind of talking before we started, we were looking at some other brands because Tom Evans just won UTMB and he wears ASICS. And Justin and I were like, what does ASICS makes for trail shoes?
I didn't have a clue. I was looking. We had to go look on their website, and yeah, they make trail shoes. I mean, just like everybody else. I mean, everybody's trying to jump on this craze of trail running, like we've discussed in the past with all these other companies coming out with trail running lines. But I did not have a clue that ASICS was in the game. But apparently, they came out swinging hard because they got first and second.
Yeah.
The American. I don't want to butcher his last name, so I'm just going to call him Ben the American.
Ben the American, second
He,
place.
Also an ASIC. So very, very, very odd that a company that has done really well in the road running line would, start swinging for the fences and pick up some pretty big athletes.
Yeah, I think I tried with those New Balance, those Heroes, and they're good shoes. They're more for flat too.
They have a pretty good
I just need to find
on
some,
though, don't they?
Yeah, the rocker on them pretty aggressive.
Yeah.
And for me, rockers and technical just don't work.
Do you like a more cushioned shoe or do you like a non-cushioned shoe?
I like middle of the ground. I like a cushioned shoe, but very responsive.
Okay.
And that sounds weird. Hoka was doing a pretty good job at that. The Mafate Speed 4s they're pretty cushy, but they were also very responsive. And they had their other shoe. I think they still make it. Oh, I can't remember the model, but they said it was their race shoe, and people said they wouldn't race more than 50 miles in it. Super light, but it had enough cushion, but it was super responsive. Then I tried their carbon, their Tecton X, and not the Mafate, was the ones before that. They still make them, but I just don't know about carbon and trails quite yet.
I just don't think it's made for us. It's made for people that like go fast. Not saying that you don't run fast, but it's not like we're not winning Western States or UTMB. You know what I mean? And so
yeah, and I don't. The cost, I don't. Those Tectons are cool, but they throw my feet around. So there was more like short 5-10 mile workout type runs. Yeah, they're cool. But if I was going into 50 miler, they would not be my choice of shoes because it's part of that mental fatigue too. You got to pick your line because they just throw your foot everywhere. They're so responsive and the propulsion in them is amazing. I can see why they work great on the road, but not on the trails yet. Maybe I'll try another pair of.
Have you looked at what is your drop? Your drop you want is like 5 and under?
Yeah, I like 4. 4 is my sweet spot.
Have you looked at the Mount to Coast T1?
No, when I was I was on YouTube looking at Mafate 5 reviews, so I could go put my word out there on how much I hate them. Some people were talking about those Mount to Coast shoes, and is that what Jeff's wearing?
I think he does have those as well. I think he has a lot of different shoes, but I think he does have those as well. I've seen a lot of people coming out and wearing the T1s. I personally have never worn them. I've worn their R1s, which is their road running shoe, and I have another pair. I put about 500 miles on those shoes, which is the most I've ever put on a pair of shoes. And now I wear them as walking around shoes, and they're phenomenal. They're the most comfortable shoes I've ever worn. But so now they have those T1s, and they're coming out with another one called the H1, which is a higher stack height. I think, I don't know about the drop, but I know it's more of a cushion shoe, maybe road to trail type thing. But I know a lot of people wear the T1s, and I have not heard anything bad about them. So I think they have about a 4 millimeter drop, weigh about 9 ounces. So might be worth something to look into. It might be. I'm a fan of Mountain Coast, but I've only tried their R1s. I got 2 pair of them. And like I said, probably one of the more comfortable shoes I've ever worn.
I'm gonna have to check those out because I did see some talk about those and people who have a snow line even.
Yeah, the snow line looks sick. They do look sick. Heidi wore, when she paced me for Kettle Moraine, she wore the T1s the whole time. And she swore by them. So, and she's coming from Ultra, so we got her in a drop. And so got her in more of a drop. Her calves are thanking hers.
She we talked
But
enough
a 4
smack
millimeter. Yeah, I know. She was just like, fine, I'll wear something else. But yeah, 4 millimeter drop, so it's right kind of up their alley. A little bit more plush from what I've seen, as opposed
yeah, they
to
look like about
right.
I'm looking at their website right now, and they're actually like right where I'd want them to be. 9 ounces, 4 mil drop. They're in between balance and plush, and their stability's moderate.
Give them a shot, dude.
I'm gonna give them a shot.
I think
I'm gonna bet.
they'll be right up your alley. I really do. I'm excited for their H1s to come out because I'm going to get a pair of them, because the trails that we run around here they're not like technical trails. And so needing a technical shoe is not, I don't know. You don't need a technical shoe. There are trails around here that a technical shoe does work when you're going out and climbing mountains. For the most part, the trails that I wear or run are just like roots and rocks and dirt, a little bit of mud here and there. So just a light tread. And so I think the H1s are going to be more at my alley. And I like a cushion shoe, more cushion than, I don't need responsive.
No, I think it might be too late in the game to switch these for Cowboy, but I think maybe I'll get a pair before Cowboy. I got online and was trying to find the Mafate Speed 4s, trying to buy them up. Hoka doesn't even have them on their website anymore. A Running Warehouse has 2 colors, but I'm kind of also like, well, if I can't get that shoe anymore, why would I want to buy a few more pairs to lengthen
Yeah.
it? Then I'm just going to have to find a new shoe. So
Yeah.
I think I'm going to try those Mountain Coast.
I used to swear by the Brooks Calderas. I love the 6. The 6 was like the best version of that shoe they made. The 7 was okay, and I was like, all right, it's okay. They added like a kick plate. They added a, what is it called? A rock plate.
Yeah.
And it made it a stiffer shoe, obviously, with the rock plate. It made it a bit of a stiffer shoe. But I had some problems with my feet running in it. And then I got the 8s, and I'm like, man, I can't with these shoes anymore. I wear them when it's like little short runs here and there. But yeah, the 6 was that year, and 7, 8 haven't been it. I want to try the new Cascadias, because those are my favorite shoes, the Cascadia. But they lowered the drop 2 millimeters, so they're now 6 millimeter drop. So I like that 8 millimeter. I know the Calderas were a 5, but I like that. I like that 8. That's kind of my sweet spot with a trail shoe. I don't know why. That's what seems to work for me. But I think a 6 might be okay. But the Cascadia, man, I love that shoe.
It's funny, you wear that shoe for so long, and I can understand why people like Ultra, the 0 drop. It takes a lot of time to get used to that 0 drop.
Yeah.
Then if you put anything like a 2 drop on or a 4, it's like you're wearing high heels, right?
Yeah.
Just like when I got those Brook Ghost and I decided to go run 15 miles indoors with them for the first run, and
12
I couldn't walk the next day. I couldn't walk the next day because my feet were all like, anyways. I still haven't ran in those. I think I ran 2 runs in them, and they're sitting on the shelf. Don't even have 20 miles.
Those are good for like walking around too.
I probably should wear those as walking around shoes. I have so many walking around shoes though.
So do I. I need to get rid of some. I have like my I'm just going to town, walking around. Those are like my old Mountain Coast R1s. I wear those, and they're all like dirty and gross. I shared on my Instagram today in my stories, like, who else is walking around shoes look like you've mowed the grass, ran through mud. They're just gross looking. But then I have my trail version. Like if I know that I'm going to be out, like, if there's a potential that I could hit a trail, maybe not running, but I'm like, oh, I'm going to wear those. Those are more exciting. So I wear my old Cascadias.
Uh,
Oh, I'm so stupid.
yeah.
Well, speaking of ASICS, we got to like talk a little bit about UTMB. We have a Kiwi that is a triple crowner now, Ruth
Yeah.
Croft.
Is that the first time?
Kind of came, I wouldn't say she came out of nowhere. Like she's a
She's been
legit
around.
runner, but I don't think anyone had her predicted to win or maybe even get into the podium spot. And so she's won OCC, she's won CCC, which is the 60K and the 100K. And now she's won UTMB and has completed the Triple Crown.
Yeah, I don't know if has anyone done that before. Do you know?
I
I don't
don't
know.
know. I know that she's also the first person. What was I going to say? She's the first New Zealander to win UTMB.
Oh wow.
And did you listen to when she was coming in?
No,
Did you watch it, the live stream? So I
no.
just happened to be watching the live stream when she was coming in. And because I knew that the men had finished and I was like, okay, the women got to be pretty close. So I flipped it on and she's running through Chamonix. And the guy that's an announcer is from New Zealand and he's losing his freaking mind. And it was so funny. If you could find the clip of that
I'm sure that'll be.
online somewhere, you definitely got to check it out. It is hilarious. The lady was like, the lady that was with him announcing was like, I'm more excited about you being excited than Ruth Croft's actually coming in to win the race. But
I want to
yeah,
before we
super
get
cool.
into some of the other stuff about that. I want to say how cool their website was. Yes, it's freaking hard to navigate through, but you're able to watch the live stream, and anything you click off that live stream, it minimizes the window, and you can search through shit.
Yeah.
I thought that was the coolest
But
thing.
you got
Like
to
you
have
can
a
look at.
doctorate to be able to understand the website.
You do. It took me Friday night. I'm like, I'll just get on there and check it out, and I'm like trying to like find the leader list, and I remember clicking on stuff, then it minimizes, and I'm like, okay. I'm like trying to close it, it wouldn't close. I was like, okay, I guess I'm stuck listening to it. But then I found the leaderboard. You could follow him on the map. Then I was like, where's Hayden Hawks? So I typed his name in, and anytime they run through a aid station, they have a camera, and you can
Mhm.
watch the videos of anyone run through the aid station just by typing in their name.
Really?
Yeah, I was like, so I typed in Dakota Jones. I just started typing in names that I knew. I'm like, this is amazing. Like, they're way ahead of us in coverage.
Yeah. Yeah.
And their website, I don't know if it's just, being French engineers and we're used to this, they're probably used to
Maybe
that,
their
but
website is way ahead of us too, and we just haven't us dumb Americans just haven't figured it out yet.
that's what I was feeling when I was navigating through it. I'm like, I feel like I'm dumb, like playing the Oregon Trail for the first time in 7th grade, like trying to not kill my guys.
It is such a hard website to navigate. It's so
Yeah.
stupid. Like when
Yeah.
you're trying to figure out like, well, so before they went to the stones thing and screwed up
Mhm.
the whole system, like I had points or whatever they called them, and like trying to figure out how many points you had versus whatever. It's just like it's such a nightmare to navigate. And it's like, God, I hate this website.
Yeah,
It's
it's
so dumb.
well, then their coverage though too, like, I didn't know Jim was running OCC till obviously he started running the race because I couldn't find anywhere. It said, and here's another rant. They just say so and so is running UTMB. Well, how many races are there? There is a bunch of junior races now. I found out there's races all week,
Yeah.
right? It's a big thing. Well, you say he's running UTMB, that doesn't mean he's running the 100-miler, 109-miler, 108, whatever
Yeah.
it is. It could be OCC, CCC. What is it? PRTL or
Yeah. There's a ton of them out there.
yeah. So, but it was cool to see. I clicked on their Instagram. Justin had sent me some stuff, and I clicked on their Instagram, and like they had all kinds of awesome coverage, like Jim patting him on the back when he passed
Yeah, that was cool. That was
The guy
a heck
first.
of a race when I mean, it came down to 20 seconds. That was the split between first and second.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. They
And
had incredible footage.
yeah, it's just it's cool to watch since we're not
Yeah.
there.
What do you think about I know you're not much of a, crowds person, but that race is known for the cheering. Like every single, city or village that they run through has tons of people. They're lined up along the trail, cheering people on. And now we're just seeing the elite. So someone who's like, you or I who are mid to back of the pack on that race, like who knows if we get the same type of cheering as the elites, but what do you think about the crowds at that race compared to like a normal 100 that you would go run?
I think there's so much like history and culture there with the mountain running in, you know, France and Chamonix in that area. And, I'm a big fan of the Golden Trail series where those fans will go out onto those, mountain courses and do the same thing. For me, I think it's really cool what they get out there and they just cheer on everyone and it's the whole thing.
Mhm.
Here I've been to, a lot of the different 100 milers and I don't mean this in any bad way, but a lot of times when there's a lot of people out on the course, it's crews of a runner, right? And we
Yeah.
know some people will have a big entourage of people to go help them run a 100 miler. And not all those people are in ultra running or understand what's going on. They're there just to support their family member, their friend, whatever, right? They just like, yeah, I'll go help, right? But what I notice the difference between United States and Europe, those people are passionate about cheering those people on. They have to hike up to get up to those spots too. A lot of those refugios and places where they're standing, they're on a saddle or a pass and they're standing in the rain. And this year they're in the snow and the cows and the dogs. And I think it's just culturally different than what we see in the
Mhm.
United States. I think
Yeah.
depending on the race, like at Hard Rock, when you're out at Hard Rock, not a lot of people go spectate Hard Rock because it's so hard to spectate. But the people that are out there spectating know somewhat of the course, they know the history of the run, and they know what's going on.
Mhm.
I hate to harp on Leadville so much, but I've seen a Leadville where there's friends and family, no clue about ultra running, and they're on the course. They're in the way. They're standing in an aid station where they don't need to be. Luckily now a lot of that stuff has changed with not letting those people in there. But that's just the cultural difference I see with Europe and here is even though I haven't been to one, but watching is just how much they're there to support and love the race.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree, and I also think that that's what makes UTMB so special is the crowds
Yeah.
that line the streets, you know. And like I said, I haven't watched a lot of the coverage of UTMB to see like if the same level of support is there for, every person coming through. And I'm sure the crowd does diminish a little bit as some of the elites come through, but I'd be willing to say that it stays the same, and I think it's really cool that, that level of support is there. Those towns look forward to UTMB, and I can't imagine the amount of business that those places get while the race is going on, but man, what a cool event. Would you ever go do it?
I would love to. I would love to. I mean, we were kind of talking about this off air too, is there's a bunch of routes out there that you can do. I can't remember the name of this route. It's in Italy, I believe, and I think it's like 140ish miles. But I would love to do UTMB, but I would also just go out there and do like
Yeah.
a fun run where you get to go stay in hotels and get
Yeah,
back
for
on the
sure.
trail in the morning and go run another 30 miles with,
Yeah.
10,000 feet of gain. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah, no, that'd be good. I would love to do UTMB as well. I haven't I haven't any stones. Hey,
It is a,
also, remember when the uproar happened like 2 years ago about UTMB?
oh yeah, we forgot about that,
I've
didn't
heard
we?
nothing ab I know, I've heard nothing about it. It's like, I know on this podcast that I said people are gonna forget about it in a
Yep.
year or 2. I heard I heard nothing about it on this at all. Like, there was nothing on Instagram, there's nothing on TikTok, there's nothing on Threads, nothing on X, any of the social media sites. I heard nothing about it. So
Yep.
it's been
And
forgotten.
it's the
Been
same
forgotten.
sponsor still. Like, they were all up in arms about that
Yeah,
car
nothing's
company, Darcia or whatever. No, they're still there. Like,
Yep.
when I got on the webpage, the whole background was that sponsored by, Yeah.
Too funny. Well, hey, today we got two longtime trail runners, and we want to bring a little bit of our knowledge to you. So if you're a newbie trail runner, or if you're a newbie runner, this could help you, but more if you're a newbie trail runner. If you're someone who listens to the podcast and you've like, oh man, I really want to get into trail and ultra running because these guys are so motivating and awesome and the greatest guys ever. Well, we're going to help you out. But first, before we help you out, why don't you hit that subscribe button if you're watching us on YouTube? And if you're not watching us on YouTube, if you're listening to us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, why don't you just give us a like and then hit that 5-star? If you just hit the 5-star, that helps us out tremendously. But if you can leave us a comment, that blows us up. So hit the 5-star, leave us a comment, hit subscribe on YouTube, and that'll help us out a lot. But here is 3 beginner tips for trail running. The first one is slow down. The pace is not the same as it is on the road. Robbie, you want to go into that a little bit on detail?
Yeah. I know for me, going from newbie bike paths runner, concrete, a little bit of road, but concrete, then going to the trails, I was naive and thought I could just go run the same pace on the trails. Well,
Yeah.
you get about, 2 miles in with 500 or 600 feet of gain and you feel like you're going to throw up because you're trying to go at a 9-minute mile pace and like beating yourself up because you can't do it. Yeah, really, trail running is a whole different world. You got to change your gait. Your pace really slows down depending on the technicality of the trail. Now, if you're going to do a rails to trails, it could be a different story, but you're probably still going to slow down a bit just because, of your foot purchase is not going to be stable all the time. Whereas it's road or concrete, when you put your foot down, for the most part, your purchase is going to be what it's going to be.
Yeah.
Trail, that's one thing I love about it. You never know when you put that foot down if there's going to be something there for you to purchase or not purchase. So yeah, pace is, you just got to slow down. And I'm a huge believer now in, like, if I go run a new trail and I know it's going to got some gain and it's going to be technical, you know what? I might just hike the first mile of it. I don't care. Like, who cares? I'm out there to hang out and see stuff. And I've just learned my lesson in the past too many times by going out there and getting on something new or a trail that I maybe ran, every day for 2 weeks. Every footstep's different. So slow down.
Yeah, yesterday was a pretty good example of this. So we were doing a 10-mile out and back, 20-mile total. And I was mentioning that this run, though the climb wasn't as big as what we had done, me and my running partner, 2 weeks ago, that it's still going to take us the same amount of time because of just like the trail was overgrown. So you're running through like trees and craziness. And it's hard to run through that. And even when I was running through it, a limb caught my foot and I tripped and fell and, scraped up my knee and arm. And it's like, because that stuff's grabbing you. So you have to really like kind of pay attention. So that trail that we ran was about 50% runnable. So 10 miles of that we probably hiked. It was a 5-hour 20-miler. And so someone coming from road running that, ran a couple marathons, maybe want to jump into the trail world, run a 50K, 50-mile ultra marathon, you're not going to be able to run a 20-miler in the speed that you were running a 20-miler on the road. And so you really have to look at your time on feet being more important than the actual mileage. And that's, that's something that we were discussing yesterday. And we were like, this trail is about 50% runnable. And we were saying that's high for this area because a lot of the trails were not 50% runnable. The one we did 2 weeks ago was also a 20 miler. It took us almost 6 hours. It was a lot of climb for the first 5 miles. I think it was almost 4,000 foot of climb for the first 5 miles. And then the down was so steep that you're sidestepping. There's a rock boulder garden that you got to go over. And it's like, you can't run over that. And so I'm not saying that every trail is going to be like rock gardens and, super steep downhills where you got to like sidestep down these hills for a mile, but there are a lot of trails that are like that. And so you have to like kind of bring back your expectations on like, all right, well, I ran a 20 miler in 2.5, 3 hours. So I think I can, maybe add a couple minutes to that. And it's like, that might be a 5-6 hour run for 20 miles.
Yeah. I mean,
But
let's
time
be
on
honest.
feet is the important thing when you're talking about trail and ultra running.
Yeah, and let's be honest too. Just say you've ran multiple 5-hour marathons. Then you go get
Yeah.
on a trail like as you were talking about, Justin, and you're new. Well, that could turn into an 8-hour run pretty easy.
Yeah.
If you're being honest, that's one thing
Yeah.
where everything changes. Coming from the road to the trail, there's going to be a lot of differences there. Then we're going to get into another topic that's pretty big too, that really has to change. These three things are very important, but all of them have to change to suit where you're at. I've heard multiple people, including myself, saying, "Oh, I could run 2-hour 10-miler on the road pretty easy." I've been on 10-mile runs in the mountains that have taken me 4-6 hours before, just because there's so much gain and you can't run.
Yeah.
It's more of a hike, We could just say it's a hike/run.
Yeah.
So that's some of
We
the
call
things
them all
where
runs.
they're all runs.
But yeah, you're 100% right. You got to slow down a bit. Your pace is not going to be the same. I think that if you know that going in, that you won't be as hard on yourself. And so I think that's a lot of times what people they think, okay, I'm running this pace on the road, I'm going to be somewhat similar on trail. And then they get down upon themselves and get hard on themselves when that pace is not the same. And so having that expectation going in, I think will be huge. Robbie, you want to lead us off on numero dos?
Nutrition? Yeah. This was one, and Justin and we've talked about this till nauseum on this podcast, and we will continue to talk about it because it changes weekly, yearly, whatever. It changes. It's never ending. One thing with nutrition and trail and ultra is there's never an end point. It continuously changes, and you see these elites too, and they will say the same thing, that it's always changing. Going from road, and what I see at aid stations on the road is water, Gatorade, maybe a banana, hardly. I've seen some gels, but that's because some of the ones I've been to, they kind of they got some trail in them too, so they have some gels out there, and these people need a little more nutrition. But then a lot of what you see from 5K, 10K, half marathon, you don't see a lot of people carrying what we call race vests. You don't see them carrying water. They have little teeny belts, and then some just stuff gels in their pockets, all that other stuff. As we were talking, your pace is going to be slower, but this is the other thing that people don't know, or they forget about. Your intensity is going to be higher. It's like turning up the volume, because if you want to run up that hill, it's going to take way more effort to run up that hill than it would be on the flat.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to burn through some sugar. So your nutrition needs, in my opinion, are going to need to be a lot more calories and carbohydrates, per hour than if you're running hard on the road. I know that those sound counterintuitive, because if I was going to go out and run a hard marathon, I'm going to be, super high in my heart rate zone, and I'm going to be burning through sugar. But my intensity is going to be up there, but I'm not going to be burning as much as I would be if I was slamming uphill for 10 miles. Like, take Speedgo for the first 5 miles is like 5,000 feet.
Yeah.
The first time I ran it, I blazed up to the top as fast as I could. I ran pretty much the whole way up there, right? If I compare to those 5 miles to a flat 5 miles at that intensity, it's going to be totally different. I probably need to double the calories on that 5 miles as I would if I was running a hard 5 miles on the flat. So my standpoint too is a lot more real food.
But a counter to that would be hiking 5 miles. Yeah.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. That would be the counter to that too.
What about the hiking of the 5 miles? Because, like,
So
not a lot of beginner trail runners gonna be running up that 5,000
correct.
foot, you know?
Yeah, and it depends, I guess, where you're at too, right? You know, Justin and I both have our clients power hike where we tell them not to run. We go, you're going to do a power hiking session. Walk as fast as you can. I know if I'm really humping really hard hiking, I'm probably where I'd be heart rate wise as if I was running pretty hard on the flat. So that's going to be the same type of thing for fueling. But now if I'm, like zone 2 and going really slow and taking in the views and just taking it easy, I'm probably not going to need as much calories. So that's where I think it gets really hard to be
Mhm.
an athlete going from road to trail, is finding that sweet spot with your calories. I struggled for a little while, and sometimes I'd take too many calories and sometimes I wouldn't take enough. So what I would say to someone new, depending on the length, just take extra food and have some real food too. Candy bars, fun stuff.
Yeah.
I think, gummy bears.
100% agree with you on, eating real food. One thing that I would also suggest would be preparing your gut. And that sounds weird, but, when you're out there running these long distance races, a 5 or a marathon may take you 4 to 6 hours, depending on where you're at, or even faster, where a 50K could take 8 to 10, depending on the terrain. So the difference in eating in a 5-hour marathon versus a 10-hour 50K is huge, right? So as you suggested, Robbie, eating some real food, learning how to handle eating real food and running is important. And preparing your gut means trying those things out on your training runs. That way, what works with you and what doesn't. Now, I'm not saying on race day things that you've tried before aren't going to work or are going to work. I've had it before where PB&Js worked perfect, and then I get out there on race day and PB&Js don't work. And so having alternatives to what you have worked with and what you've used will help out a lot. So there's tons of stuff out there that you can buy, like the little Bobos work really well. I use Rice Krispie treats. I use fruit strips. I actually tried out this new company today called Tater Boost. They're just a pouch, a resealable pouch of mashed potatoes.
Oh,
Basically, I just took my bladder and poured water into it and then just squished it up, and it's mashed potatoes. And so, like, now you don't have to make mashed potatoes the night before to take out there. And they just come, and they're resealable. So if you don't want to eat them all at once, you can just reseal the pack, put them back in your pack, and then have them a little bit later. Phenomenal taste. This podcast is not sponsored by them at all. There's no sponsorship. I just thought that they were really good. I wanted to try them out. I'm going to order a bunch more for the 200. They're just, it's just potatoes. They were phenomenal. So, but yeah, prepare your gut, eat real food, try things. Because the aid stations are going to look a lot different than what you're used to for your road races. And number 3, this is Robbie's favorite. We mentioned it a little bit earlier, is picking lines. This is something I think that hasn't been talked about a lot when you hear beginner trail running. It's knowing where your line is going to be. So imagine, close your eyes. You're running down a trail. There's rocks everywhere. There's roots, but there's little spots that you can place your feet. And that's where you're going to pick your line. So your line is just the line that you're going to run. And if you don't pick your line, then you're going to hit that rock and you're going to trip and fall. And that's not what you want to do. So I understand Robbie just fell off again. He doesn't pay his bills, so he's out. But I joke with him. He pays his bills, but his internet is being trashed. So we're going to finish up the podcast with just me. Pick your line. Know where you're going to place your feet. Do the little Michael Irvin, as you're running. It's perfect. So 3, beginner trail, slow down. The pace is not the same on trails as it is in road. Eat real food. Try your real food. Prepare your gut for the race day. Know what you're going to eat. Have practiced it on your long runs. And then pick your lines. When you're walking uphill, you can still kind of envision where you're going to place your feet. When you're bombing downhill, I mean, just absolutely just crushing bomb downhill, pick your line. Hey, we're on Apple Podcasts. We're on Spotify. We're on anywhere you can get your podcasts. We're also on YouTube. You can look at my smiling face with my ironing board in the back. Hilarious. And as always, we'll see you on the trails.